I have rather surprising news for you and for all of us at the household. Mrs. Girard is with child.
Isn't it a normal child, Mr. Phillips?
Insane!
Mrs.
Insane!
Girard is in
Insane!
child. This room
Insane!
is your home now.
Insane! 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 Insane!
Mary.
Mary Girard.
Holly.
Holly Mary.
Who are you?
Mary.
No, you stay away from me! Let me out of here, do you hear me? You set me free at once.
Oh, she wants
To be set
free.
at once.
Oh, no, we mustn't.
Do that.
Set me free, I tell you. How dare you laugh at me? How dare you?
Oh,
She's so.
indignant.
Quite the fine lady, isn't she?
No one would think.
Her husband was.
Well-to-do.
Would they, Mary?
What do you want of me? Did you come here to torment me?
We want nothing, Mary.
Only to comfort you.
To aid you.
Be with you in time of travail.
Do whatever we can.
Or may.
Or might.
But for God's sake, set me free. If I stay in this chair any longer, I shall go mad.
Oh, say that and...
We'll never let you out. Dr. Rush's chair is always successful. Such a good doctor, Dr. Rush.
Please, set me free, please.
Does she promise?
To behave.
Would you try?
To run.
Away.
No, I promise I won't run away. I won't.
Besides,
She has no place.
to run.
Except into the wall.
Which we can do, but not her.
Not you, Mary.
Not you.
Well, who are you? What are you? Tell me.
We're no one. Nothing.
Inmates of the asylum.
Like you, Mary.
Figments of your imagination.
Air.
Less than
Smoke.
a puff.
A booth.
Of nothing.
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 Well, if you are nothing, then I must be mad. I can see you, I can hear you, and
No, you mustn't touch us.
But then we would have to
tear you apart.
We don't exist.
We are ghosts, your friends.
Cells of yourself.
Fiends and angels.
We know nothing.
Except everything.
You know.
Or want.
to know.
well then tell me. Tell me everything I want to know.
What do you want to know, Mary?
Tell me where I am and how long I've been here.
That's too simple.
It's no fun.
You know that already.
The Pennsylvania hospital.
Same.
As it was.
This morning.
This morning. How long have I been here?
It's the same day as it was before.
Well, I can't have been here for only a matter of hours. That's not possible. Being in that chair is horrible. I couldn't move. I couldn't see anything. And no sooner was I strapped into it than I began to itch.
Nerves. Only nerves.
Or madness.
I couldn't even scratch my arm. And then my eyes began to tear, and I couldn't wipe them. And then there was such a roaring in my ears. I thought it would drive me to...
Yes, go on. Don't stop. We want to hear everything.
All sounds were strange and distant. As though I were underwater, drowned, without being dead, and it felt so terribly hard to breathe. And then later I fell asleep and had such dreams that I woke up screaming, and then I thought I was being smothered. It's coldly, carefully smothered with an enormous pillow that kept getting larger and larger. At first it was just the size of that box, but then it grew to the size of the room. And then to the size of the entire hospital, and I knew that it would continue growing, smothering not only me but everyone. The size of the city, and the state, and the size of the entire United States, and I awoke screaming.
And you see, no one was smothering you at all. You were only here.
Experiencing the effects of the tranquilizing chair.
And the echo in that box of my own screams. Why would they put me in such a thing? Well, surely they know I'm not mad. I can't have been here for only one day. It is not possible.
Less. It's only now.
Near midnight.
Soon it will be Sunday. You will be able to hear.
The bells from all the churches. Stephen Girard will be in his usual pew.
Mary.
Praying for your soul.
No doubt.
Well, I'll see him. I'll talk with him. I'll ask him to forgive me or to let me pass away to some other place. Pass out of his life as though we never met.
The idea.
Did you ever
Hear of such a thing.
horrid,
Shocking.
disgraceful
A dreadful
for
idea.
a married woman
To have.
leave her husband?
She must be.
How
Mad.
dare you speak to me like that? I'm Mrs. Stephen Girard.
We're only trying to help you, Mary.
To put mildly. What you're bound to hear.
Tomorrow.
No one would dare talk to me in such a manner.
They will, Mary. And worse.
Much worse, Mary.
The ones on the street.
The ones at those windows.
The ones who come daily to stare and pour going
And laugh at the lunatics
to mock them, try to frighten them into fits
or convulsions.
or seizures.
Of the most horrid kind.
And it works beautifully, Mary. You'll be surprised how often.
And how violently the seizures come.
Well, it mustn't be allowed. I'll speak to someone about it.
Speak to someone.
mustn't be allowed.
Glorious.
Wonderful.
Mary, can't you see how large the windows were made?
So the people wouldn't have to stoop.
To see in.
Well, they'll not look at me. I couldn't bear it. But I suppose I'll be gone before they come anyway, and if I'm not, then I'll hide from them. Yes, under the covers of the bed, or under the bed, if necessary. They will not laugh at me. I couldn't stand it, I tell you.
No. Poor Mary.
If you hide, it'll make matters
So much worse.
You said you know everything I want to know. Well, then tell me how to get out of here, please. Oh, please.
We can only show you. You have to start at the beginning by seeing the warder of the
Oh, I
cells.
saw him this morning. He won't help me.
You have to.
See him for.
He's the beginning.
And if you are to
Know the end.
You have to begin at the
start.
Come on, in here. This way, Mary.
My name is Mrs. Stephen Girard. You will call me by that name if you address me again.
Oh, no, I don't. I call you Mary. I have it on strictest orders not to call you any such false names as that.
You know who I am. You came to my home in your carriage to bring me to see the doctor. You know I'm Mrs. Girard.
I went to Mr. Girard's house, not yours. All I know is you're married. More than that, I don't want to know.
No, you don't understand. I came here to see the doctor, and you're to take me back to my home at once.
Home? This room is your home now, Mary. And it's cheery, too, in daylight. That is, if you'll be able to see much daylight from all the admirers in the windows up there.
What? Admirers?
Tomorrow's Sabbath. Lots of folk will be out in a holiday mood. You'll see for yourself then, I
No,
think.
I won't be here tomorrow. I came here to see the doctor about a personal condition. You have to bring me to see him at once.
Oh, snooty, ain't you? Wants to see the doctor at once, does she? Well, doctors don't come around at once. They're due sometime the week after next, so you'll just wait till then, all right? Now just take your coat,
You stay away from me.
if that's the way you want it. Abe's here.
Oh, no, you don't, no, stop. No, please, take your hands off me. You stay away from me. Please, you mustn't do this.
I'm only doing my job. It's what I get paid for, man.
But surely you can see this is wrong.
Well, there you're wrong. I'm not paid to see what's right or wrong. It's not my business. My business is locking you up. The rest is not my business.
I am not a lunatic.
That's not for you or me to say. That's for Mr. Girard to say. He's your legal guardian. He's the one who puts you
Now,
here.
you stop saying that. I will not permit you to lie about him that way. He would never do... Well, he wouldn't. Anyway, I don't believe you. But even if he did, he hasn't the authority. He's no doctor. He isn't medically qualified to pronounce me either sane or insane.
Oh, honey, he doesn't have to be a doctor. All he has to be is your husband. That makes him your legal guardian. By law, whenever a legal guardian says the one they guardian over is lunatic, and then we pick him up and we put him in. We get lots of women folk here whose helpmates have written a little letter saying they're a lunatic. You'll see them. They're crazy too. Seems to happen more to women folk on account of the delicacy of their
Oh,
mind.
for God's sake, sir, look at me. Do I appear to be without my reason?
Have you ever heard of the old wives' tale? Never judge a book by its cover.
But I tell you, I'm sane.
Yep. And that's what they think too. And I got a little letter from your husband, Mr. Girard, saying straight out that you, his wife, Mary Girard, is lunatic, and requesting that you be held here for treatment for the rest of your natural life. Unless, of course, you be cured.
No, for God's sake, do not jest with me, sir.
Oh, no, it's no jest. You be good to Frankie, and he'll be good to you.
No, stop! No, please! No, take your hands off me! No, you don't understand. I'm not supposed to be here. Oh, please listen to me. If I could just speak to someone, it will all be cleared up. You don't understand. Oh, please.
You seem sort of subject to excitations. You'll feel better after a few hours locked in the good Dr. Rush's tranquilizing chair. See if you don't.
Mr. Girard, thank you for seeing me here at such short notice, sir. I have rather surprising news for you and for all of us at the hospital. Mrs. Girard is with child.
Yes?
And yet you brought her to us to be confined to the mentally insane?
Most certainly. I find it curious that I need to explain to you, Mr. Phillips, that physical condition has nothing whatsoever to do with the state of one's mind. I brought my wife to you because she is insane. Whether she is with child or not is no concern of yours, nor of anyone else's.
Mr. Girard, given these newly discovered circumstances, we cannot permit you to leave Mrs. Girard in these conditions.
I see. Perhaps this will be sufficient.
$3,000?
That is payment in advance, which I hope you will be gracious enough to accept from me. You see, I do not choose to be concerned any further with any difficulties that may arise due to my wife's confinement.
I don't know what to say.
Answer only this. Can it be done?
Yes. Oh, but sir, what of the child? I would not have a child of mine born under such conditions for all the money in the world.
I can assure you, sir, neither would I.
Mr. Girard, do you mean
I
to
bid
say...
you good day, sir.
Oh, no. No, Mr. Phillips, don't go. Please, don't go.
He can't hear you, Mary.
Because he doesn't.
Want to.
Men lose all their faculties if the prophet's sound.
I have to get out of here. I have to see someone. I have to talk with someone. When will they let me see someone?
But we can let you.
See anyone?
You choose.
Name the name.
And instantly they'll appear.
Will they truly, or am I only imagining this?
What does it matter, Mary?
Give
us the names.
I want to see my mother.
Her mother? Oh, how funny.
Little Mary wants to see her mother.
Yes, so let me see her. Please.
Madam, you sent for me?
Mother? Oh, Mother, you've come to me.
Rise, madam. Of course I would come at the bidding of Mrs. Girard. I could hardly do otherwise, could I? Though I cannot pretend to understand why you wanted me here.
Well, it is comfort that I need of you now.
Comfort? You live in the very heart of comfort, madam. You must be quite happy here.
What are you saying? This is not my house. This is a cell for lunatics in the cellar of the great hospital. Oh, do not mock me, madam. Surely you can see it is cold and dark and horrid here.
I see only that when you married above your station, it brought you great rewards. I also see why you do not want your family coming here, traipsing the dirt from workmen's feet across your fine wood floors.
My family was not welcome here, and neither were my friends. And now I myself am not. I told you what things were like for me whenever I visited you. Mother, my husband abuses me.
For shame you should give him cause, and double shame you should be brazen enough to tell it. You should have learned by now there is nothing unusual in a husband's abusing his wife, for it is the woman's place to be clever enough to seem to do his will, whether she do or no. If you've been married this longest time and still not learned that, I do not doubt you've made a sorry time for yourself, and poor Mr. Girard as well.
And must the wife always bend to her husband's will, whether it be right or wrong?
Most assuredly. For it is the husband's place to rule his wife, the wife's to obey her husband.
And why must it be so?
Because it is the law.
Whose law?
God's law. When you married, you vowed to honor and obey your husband till death do you part. Do you dare question the law of God himself?
If it is unjust?
It is not possible for God's law to be unjust.
Well, if this is God's law, as you say it is, then why didn't you explain this law to me before I married Mr. Girard? I was only 16. I was a girl.
You are not so innocent as that, madam. Your marriage is a financial transaction. Your father and I... You knew Mr. Girard had money. You would never have to work another day in your life if you married him.
Well, then why did you speak to me of love and of hope?
Because I knew it would be easier for you if you loved him.
But you knew I didn't. I was a servant. I wanted a home of my own.
You knew what you were doing. You got the home you wanted and much more.
What about you? Nothing you see here is mine. I have nothing, madam. Nothing.
Then you can only blame yourself. A wise woman never lets her husband know the distaste she may feel for him. You should have dissembled more and hidden whatever loathing you may have felt behind a display of feigned affection.
I would have been a liar.
You would have fared better.
I asked you here because I have desperate news. I am with child.
Nothing in all the world can do more to please a childless man. Mr. Girard must be overjoyed.
No, I haven't told him.
But you must at once.
I cannot.
What do you mean you cannot?
It is not Mr. Girard's child.
Polly, no.
I have informed Mr. Girard that I intend to leave his house. I want to come home again. I can bring you nothing but my gratitude and a still fond regard for you.
I cannot help you, madam. It would have been well for you to have had his child.
Well, don't you think I tried having a child by him?
All I know is that you have stupidly jeopardized not only your own welfare, but everything else as well. If Mr. Girard repudiates you, so must I.
She didn't even see me here. She thought I was still the mistress of my house, but I wasn't.
You never were you, Mary?
What? Oh, you leave me alone. You cheated me. I wanted to see my mother here.
She'll not come
Here.
again.
You're lying to me. You're lying.
We? You're doing it.
To yourself. You should have been more like...
Polly,
Kenton.
Yes, definitely.
Like Polly? Then you would have.
been all right.
Had your baby.
And your home. Your mother would have been so
Grateful.
Mrs. Lum would have
loved.
having a
Daughter-like.
Polly.
What are you talking about?
They were talking about me, Mrs. Girard.
Who are you? What are you doing here? I don't know you.
My name's Polly Kenton. There's no reason why it should be important to you. I'm just one of a long line of housekeepers who will replace you, Mrs. Girard.
You admit that to my face.
I'm not important, really. Just one of a long line of girls and women he will turn to. Has turned to already, you know that.
Yes, I know it. I know that Sally becomes a slut. He brought her into my house and called her his housekeeper and then tried to keep me out of town so I couldn't see the sheet taken over my room. And you're just like her, is that it?
In a way, just like her.
And there will be others too, I suppose.
I'm sure there will be.
And so you're just a whore like all the others.
I'm his housekeeper, Mrs. Girard. The difference is that I will be longer lasting and more successful than the rest. He will even come to care for me a little, as much as he is able to care for a woman anyway.
I don't believe you.
I wouldn't lie to you, Mrs. Girard, for I have no reason to do so.
Why didn't he care for me?
In the beginning, he did. You should have had his child.
But it was not my fault we could not have children. Oh, I thought it was. I know that he blamed me, but he never said anything. Although sometimes as I was sewing, I'd suddenly feel cold. As though a draft of icy wind had pierced me, and I'd look up and I'd see him staring at me, but only that, only staring. And I knew that he was looking at me as though I were a column of figures that didn't quite balance in his cash books. And then he started taking me to doctors. And they told him I was a nervous woman and he should send me into the country to cure my nerves until I started to have these terrible headaches. And I hated to be around him, for I knew he felt I'd swindled him because I couldn't give him a son.
You sound as though you wanted him to care for you.
Is that so strange?
It isn't practical. You should have known what you could get from him and what you could not. You should have known what he required and made sure that you gave it to him.
His affection was all I wanted.
But he had none to give. Wealth was what he had to give you.
Oh, but that was nothing to me. It was nothing.
If you had given him a child, you would have won his undying gratitude. And if if you could have managed to have a son, you would have won his affection as well.
But we could not have children. We tried and we could not.
You should have seen to it that you had a child, even if it wasn't his. He would have thought it his, and the bargain would have been complete. You would have won his affection.
You've not had his children, have you?
Of course not. A man expects his wife to bear his children and his mistress to bear none.
Yet you've won his affection.
Yes, I have.
Why? How?
By not even wanting it. I've always been honest with him. He knows all I want from him is a comfortable home. In return, I've shown him a solicitous care. I've babied him, become his mother, his mistress. I've let him become with me the little boy he wanted from you. When he was a child, his mother went insane. He saw in you that which had closed him off from her. The more outrageously you tried to gain his attention and sympathy, the more he turned away from you in loathing. Your actions have made him come to hate you.
Well, has he said that to you?
I can tell you his words exactly. I hate her like the devil, and I note with pleasure that this feeling increases daily.
I don't believe you. He wouldn't say that. He wouldn't feel that.
I hate her like the devil, and I know with pleasure that this feeling increases daily.
Oh, I won't believe you. I can't.
I hate her like the devil, and I note with pleasure that this feeling increases daily.
What intolerable wrong did I do him?
Perhaps he doesn't know himself. The truth is, however, you were not sensible. It is never sensible to expect a man to understand or tolerate the dreams of his wife.
And they told him that I suffer from dreaming.
Good evening, Mr. Phillips.
Mrs. Hatcher,
I do appreciate your calling on me again. My health is ever so much better now than it used to be.
the past is past, Mrs. Hatcher.
Is it true, as they say, that the baby is that of Mary Girard?
The baby's origin is a matter of no importance, Mrs. Hatcher. You and Mr. Hatcher will receive the set sum for nursing the child, just as you have with all the other children you have cared for in the past.
Oh, such a pretty little baby. And a girl. What is her name?
Call her whatever you wish. It is immaterial.
I shall take good care of this one, Mr. Phillips. There won't be no repeats of my old mistakes. I'm ever so much better now.
I told you not to speak of the past, Mrs. Hatcher. Both for your sake and for the sake of the hospital, it is best if you keep hidden from your neighbors the source from which you received this child.
Oh, I shall love having this one. I'm truly grateful. I've never had a little girl before. I think I'll call you Rose. Rose is my name, you see, and you will be my little girl.
Mrs. Hatcher,
Yes, Mr. Phillips?
I would caution you against becoming too fond of this child. It is, after all, a child born under unpropitious circumstances.
What do you mean, Mr. Phillips?
I am asking you to treat it the same way as you would any other child.
Oh, I will, sir. Isn't it a normal child, Mr. Phillips?
Oh, no, Mrs. Hatcher. I didn't mean to alarm you. This baby seems normal, doesn't it? It needs all the care and attention other children require. Only there is a difference.
Oh, what difference, Mr. Phillips? Tell me, please.
Its mother's a patient among the insane.
Oh, no.
The baby has been born by and among those possessed of devils.
Oh, God, preserve us.
Oh, God, help me. Help me.
Look at her. Oh, I love it when she prays to dark corners and damp walls.
To empty spaces between the stars.
If she could see any stars.
Can you, Mary? Can you see any stars?
I don't know. Oh, my eyesight is so dim.
It always happens.
After long confinement.
In dark places?
Bring him to me.
We don't know.
What do you mean?
We don't.
We cannot.
Bring Stephen Girard now into this cell.
No.
We mustn't do that.
Bring him!
How did you get here?
I am where you placed me. Stephen?
All right. I shouldn't be in this place.
Oh no, Stephen?
No.
Oh, do you think I'm a vision?
Of course not.
Is that what I am to you?
I understand.
When
you
we
like-
met, I was 16. The servant carrying water through the streets, and I laughed at everything then. Do you remember that girl, Stephen?
She does not exist, madam.
No. Because we destroyed her, you and I. We destroyed her utterly. Didn't you ever love her?
She was pretty. People noticed her. She was innocent, a trait few women have.
Oh, innocent. And then she married you. And she thought, well, she gained the whole world, when in reality had gained only this little room.
She had everything she should have wanted.
The cost was too great.
It cost her nothing.
Oh, nothing! What is the value of nothing, Mr. Girard? What is its price? Can you estimate the enormity of nothing? I can tell you it is beyond calculation. I cared to give you everything. But you wanted only nothing. So I suppose it's fitting then that you placed me here in this room with nothing.
You had everything a woman could reasonably have wanted.
And what good is reason without some little affection?
If you wanted affection, you should have told me, instead of making a public display of yourself.
Stephen, I made no attempt to hide my behavior from you. We differed in only one way. I never brought my lovers under your roof. You cannot fault me for that. I always maintained a respect for you and a regard for your feelings and for your pride. Perhaps I should not have done the things I did, but in that, I am not alone. Do not lock me in this poor house, Stephen. Send me away. I'll go wherever you wish. You can take me back to one of your houses. Lock me in a room and allow me there to suffer my conscience and dream my dreams alone.
Alone? The needs of my sex are fewer than those of yours, madam. Men are more self-sufficient. Consequently, it is all the more important for a man's wife to see to it that his needs are met. Your acknowledgement of me as your husband never went beyond the duties of the flesh.
You mean to say my thoughts were my own?
I mean to say you failed to be a dutiful wife. When I found you, you were a peasant. Your mother remains one. I hoped you would develop a sense of who you had become in becoming my wife. I hoped you would rise above your origins sufficiently to modify an overly tolerant nature. It is well known that the wife of Stephen Girard converses indiscriminately with persons of no consequence as readily as she does with persons of some social standing. In these ways and others, you have failed me.
Yes. You're right. In these ways I have failed you, Stephen. Now, when I was childless, you blamed me. And I, too, thought I was barren. I thought I'd cheated you out of a son, but it wasn't me. You couldn't put life in my body because you had none in your own. I got more warmth from a stranger in a little hour than you could ever give. No, it is not my child that is loathsome to you, Mr. Girard, but the freedom of my mind and my love of life itself. May God have pity on you, sir.
God? I do not know if God exists. If I thought he did, I would pray that he keep you here for ever so long a time. As I cannot be sure of him, I will see to it myself that you endure a hell on earth. And I will pray to the possible God that it may endure forever.
No, God would not permit it. He would not keep me living here in this hellhole. I couldn't bear it. He will be merciful to me. He will be merciful to me. Let me die soon, soon. Please, dear God, sweet Jesus, be merciful to me and let me not stay here for such a day.
Oh, isn't she funny?
Oh, sweet Jesus. She's starting to froth at the mouth in prayer. God won't hear you, Mary.
Why should he?
He's too busy. And besides, he set you up for it.
It's God's jest, Mary.
And the fool is
You! Leave me alone. I won't listen to you. Please, God, please, answer me.
Oh, God,
please,
God,
God,
please.
Another man? Well, then I'll have nothing to do with such a God. And I damn you, God, I damn you!
Do you hear? She's now giving proof.
That she's insane. Insane folks always deny God.
They have to.
They're the devil's own.
His handiwork.
His cohorts.
His consorts.
When they discover how she's cursed God.
Leave me alone!
Turned on him.
Don't touch me!
Denounced it, damned
Stop!
Now she's caught our scent.
Like hounds behind the fox.
Let's hope she's quit.
To make the leap.
At last, she understands.
Yes. I believe I do understand. What if I were insane and I didn't even know? Because I think I wouldn't care. The bed is firm, and there's a window there that I can look from. If I were calm, they would not always keep me in this chair. If I were to accept you as my companions and not resist you, then I could walk about. Take some few steps. Sometimes when I look through the window and see the sky and smell the air and give birth to my poor, pitiful child, isn't that true?
Yes.
And if I was to turn my back on that world and scorn all the values it adores, deny myself the luxury that wealth can provide, then that would stand as proof that I am insane, wouldn't it?
Yes.
But here, there was only poverty and solitude and deprivation were there. And the great world is well, but endless self-indulgence and the society of ordinary people, such as him, Mr. Stephen Girard. And if I were to prefer all of this to all of that, then the world would know me to be mad, wouldn't they?
Yes!
But if I am not mad already, I soon shall be. For there was a point in my mind, a point of absolute stillness, where hatred and jealousy and greed cannot come, a point of feeling, of being which longing and unhappiness cannot touch. And when I pull myself into that place, I feel as though I'd reached something like God, but greater, or far greater than God. And going there, I could look out upon my little life as though it were a shadow show upon a wall. And all is quiet and gentle and peaceful there, for no human being can enter. And then by comparison, the world outside is horrid with greed and heartless and cruel. So let them come to the window to point and laugh at me. I will give them the respect they wore, and dare let them come. I shall give them the show they expect and deserve. I shall greet them with venom and caress them with violence and address them with words obscene and gestures which are vulgar. Oh, I shall look them boldly in the eyes to curse them and spit on them from the depths of a well of hatred. For I shall show them that they are nothing more than a fart in the face of God, and I shall tear off my clothes to show them my nether parts, so they can plainly see how completely I repudiate their world in order to enter this. And I shall have nothing to lose. And it shall be no capitulation or surrender, for from this day, I, Mary Girard, shall be truly and happily insane! 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 Insane!
I have
Insane!
a surprising
Insane!
news for you.
Insane!
This room must have yours only. Mrs. Girard is with child.
Isn't it a normal child, Mr. Phillips?
Mrs. Girard is with child.